What's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A show to help people's questions or answer a series of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. This episode is going to be significantly shorter because I only could come up with really 3 questions I think were video worthy. There were a number of questions that were answered by another viewer of mine, and then there were some questions I was able to answer in the comment section, so that's kind of why we have a much shorter episode. But before I begin, if you could, I would really appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up to help spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because every subscription counts, because I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers as quickly as I can. So if the pleasantries out of the way, let's jump right into the first question. And the first question on the list comes from Red Guilty, because I've practically given up on trying to say your first name. And you want to know, which is really out of nowhere, so, well, it's been a while since I got one of these, but do I think if The Mask 2 would have come out 2 or 3 years after the '94 movie instead of that awful disaster movie, Son of Mask? Here's the problem. Why do you think The Mask needed a sequel? It didn't need a sequel. The Mask is a self-containing film. Just because a movie was good or successful doesn't mean you have to give it a sequel. I think some of the best movies ever made were just self-contained stories. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there was no need to continue afterwards. So honestly, I would have preferred that A Mask 2 never ever came out. So no, I do not think it would have been better if they had made a second movie 2 or 3 years after the '94 movie. It just never needed to happen. I don't think that there's not enough to The Mask to warrant a franchise. I mean, I know it had maybe a cartoon series, maybe a video game, but that's as far as I think it could go. So no, I really don't. Next question comes from the Batman of Neil Gotham, and you want to know, what is my opinion on the news that Nickelodeon is partnering up with Netflix to produce new and original TV shows and movies? Well, that's news to me because I haven't really watched Nickelodeon in a really, really long time. I'm not really too fond of Nickelodeon as it is now, and if I do watch anything that is Nickelodeon related, it's probably going to contend with some older content or older shows. So stuff like Old School, all of that. Cousin Skeeter, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Kenan and Kel, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, Rugrats, All Grown Up Rugrats, Doug, Video Game Arcade, Double Dare, Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple. I mean, I could just go online either on YouTube or certain websites and just watch reruns of that. That's the kind of Nickelodeon I would prefer to watch. I mean, I really appreciate the most recent Rocko's Modern Life movie that they had on Netflix. I really appreciated that. But if it doesn't really have any connections to just old school Nickelodeon, then I probably just have no interest in it. But it's not to say that it's going to be bad. It's just, it's not appealing to me. So, I mean, if they want to make new content, go right ahead. But heck, if it's not connected to the older stuff, then I'm more than likely not interested in it. And the last question of the episode comes from Silver Leonhardt 2099, and you want to know, if I were thrusted into the Star Wars universe, what era would I want to be in? And if I were to travel with a Jedi or Sith, what era, who would I want to, and what would I want to see? Okay, well, if I was suddenly thrusted into the Star Wars universe, I would want to go to the very, 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 very beginning, before the Force is ever really a thing. There would be no Sith. There would be no Jedi. There would really be no major conflicts, and I could just live a very quiet and peaceful life. Because past that point, there's not really any eras that would really be good to live in. I mean, if you go to the Old Republic, well, you'd have to worry about the Jedi Civil War, and then the conflicts with the Sith, and the rise of the Sith Empire, and its overall destruction. And then if you go to the Twilight of the Jedi, then I'd have to contend with, the Clone Wars, and then the rise of the Empire. And then, heck, if I even went after the Empire to the emergence of the New Republic, you would still have to contend with the fall of the Empire, which was still pretty powerful at that point. And then you'd have to worry about the return of the one Sith under the reign of Darth Krayt, and then you'd have to worry about the Yuuzhan Vong invasion. I mean, there's almost, outside of the very, 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 very beginning, there's almost no era you could go into where you wouldn't have to deal with somebody. And to be quite honest, I don't really think I would want to travel around a Jedi or a Sith. I wouldn't want to, because if you're a Jedi, like, trust me, when you're with Jedi, hanging out with a Jedi is really not as fun as some people think it is. I mean, they spend a lot of their time just traveling from place to place meditating. I mean, trust me, before there was any amount of major conflicts, Jedis really did not do much. And Sith were just in a constant state of backstabbing each other. And heck, so if you're around a Sith, chances are you're going to get caught up in the crossfire. So yeah, I wouldn't want to travel around a Jedi or Sith during just about any era. But yeah, that's pretty much what my answer would be. And sorry, the sun's going down, that's why it got darker. But that pretty much concludes it for this particular episode of the People's Questions. I'd like to thank all of you that sent in your questions, whether I answered them in the video or if I answered them in the comment section. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in any comments down below. But make sure you get them into me roughly around noonish on Wednesday before I start filming the next episode. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.